Hello, good people. If you're wondering why this is happening, so am I. So I'm pretty much only doing this because I wanted to see how voiceover would go with anything. So I filmed myself doing a puzzle, working on my puzzle for like an hour, and then I shortened it down to 20 minutes because I'm not uploading an hour of me doing puzzles onto YouTube. So yeah, if you're thinking, hey, maybe there's going to be a story, or maybe she came into this with a plan, you would be completely wrong. But gosh dang it, I'm going to keep talking at this for the next, like 18 minutes. Oh my goodness. So, with that being said, I need to think of something to say. So I have in fact thought of something to say. Words. Words are things you can say. This I have learned after years of using them. Can you believe I only just learned about them? Words are crazy, right? You can just string together random letters that have their own sounds into strings with more of those letters and put those letter bunches together to formulate sentences which come together to formulate paragraphs which we perceive as meaning something. That has been my rant on words. Oh, well, since I have nothing else to say, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I am currently wishing I was not. I don't know. I had nowhere to go when I started that sentence. In other news, I'm making a dress. It's not going very well. I'm not that good at sewing. Well, I'm pretty good at sewing, but not that good. In other news, let's talk about cosplay. Cosplay is great. I enjoy it. My next plan is to make some arm socks for my Undying cosplay, which is long overdue. I have had the tights for like several months now. I just haven't made them into arm socks yet because that's how lazy I am. In other news, I have an Undying cosplay. Yeah, I still need face paint, and I still need a con to take it to, or really just any occasion to wear cosplay. I am very bored and, like, out of cons to go to. At any rate, what else can I babble about? That was terrible. I'm very congested. I don't know if you can tell. Oh, I know what I'll babble about. Forensics. That's all about babbling. And I know what you're thinking. Forensics, like forensic science, like dead corpses and cool things and whatnot. No, not that. The side of forensics we call forensic speaking. We don't roll our R's though. That's just excessive. Now you might be wondering what forensic speaking is, because any normal people, you think of dead bodies and forensic science when the word forensic comes up. So, forensic speaking is basically if you took drama and acting and you took public speaking and you mashed them together and they had a ton of babies, each with, and they called those ton of babies forensics, but each baby had a different degree of drama and acting and public speaking mixed into it. So you have some forensic events, which are the babies, which are like almost entirely acting, such as HIs and DIs. That stands for humorous interpretations and dramatic interpretations. So those are almost entirely acting. Sometimes you get the events that are only partially acting, such as prose and poetry, which is just you reading poetry and kind of acting it out, but like also not really. And then you have events that are like just straight up public speaking, such as extemporaneous, which is just giving a topic to make a speech about and making it on the fly. And original oratory, which is original oratory, you write an original oratory and then you present it, etc. So, now that you have a little bit of insight into what forensics is about, let me explain to you where and when you will use this knowledge. If you are in high school or going into high school, which, why are you watching this video? This is so freaking boring. But don't leave, please, because I have more to tell you about forensics. So, forensics is will normally be a program, blah, blah, blah. Words are fun. I'm not recording this because I'm that lazy. That most high schools will have, and even some middle schools, though it isn't very popularized because high schools can give money to sports instead, and that's 10 times more dangerous and less, useful to the actual students. Forensics, you can go and find out if you're high school or middle school, or technically you can do it in college too. You can do it throughout college. If your schooling place has a forensics team, and then you can apply to join that team. And then the fun starts. So, now that you're on your forensics team, you are going to go through, you're going to look at the events, you're going to be like, okay, I want to try competing in this event. Let's say you chose HI, humorous interpretation. So now you are going to go and you are going to find a piece. Now, there are different requirements for different pieces because forensics is a competitive sport, but it's not a sport, it's a speaking sport, so that's a better sport. Now, HI, humorous interp, obviously you want a funny piece, and you are going to act it out for 8 to 10 minutes. I have hiccups now. So you need to find a piece of writing that will be 8 to 10 minutes long when performed. I really have hiccups. Wow. Yay. And you need to write an intro to that piece. You need to work on that piece. You need to learn basically all the little acting things that come with forensics. So some of these things are pops, which is just switching between characters with a snap of a finger. You're going to need to work on your, well, of course you have to have it memorized. You can't have the script. You're going to have to write an intro. As I said, intros do not come at the start of the piece. They come a little ways into the piece. So basically you give the start of your piece or a teaser of your piece, and then you do your intro. It's not confusing. Don't question it. And then you're going to do the rest of your piece. And so you're going to work on all these things. And eventually, once you've got your piece, you've been working on your piece for a while, it's going pretty well, you are going to go to a forensics tournament. What this is the schools in your, it starts out with city, district, so you start small, get bigger. So you are going to go to whatever school at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning in formal clothes, suit, dressed up. I mean, you get dressed up. And this sounds like hell. And it kind of is, because we're teenagers. But, it's not that bad once you get used to it. But, yeah. So, you meet up with your team, if you're meeting up, or if they're picking you up, you get ready to be picked up. And you go to whatever high school is hosting this week's or bi-weekly forensics tournament. So you go there, and then you compete. You get 3 rounds to present your piece to different judges, and they will judge you and rank you on a chart of 1 to 6, with 1 being the top, 6 being the bottom, against 6 other kids who are competing in front of that judge that round. So you do that for 3 rounds. You normally get lunch in between, and then you do your, if you have done well, you will go and you will do your final round presentation, and in front of a new judge, because judges, am I right? We gotta have a lot of them. So, and if you do well during that, let's say you got first, let's say you're amazing. Your HI is amazing. Everything you've done is amazing. Let's say you got first. So now it's the award ceremony. You don't know where you've placed yet, I should say. So you are standing up with the 6 other opponents that made it this far, and they're being called up and told that, hey, you got 6th, you got 5th, you got 4th, etc. Now, once the 3rd person is called up, you shake hands with whoever is left. So, the 1st and 2nd contestants shake hands once the 3rd leaves, as a way of saying, like, hey, good job, congratulations, like, if you get first, if I get first. Good sportsmanship, basically. Now, the other person's name, since you got first in this hypothetical scenario, is called, and he walks on up, grabs his thing, and he leaves. Now, you go up, and you're like, hey, I got first, but you don't say anything, you just accept the thing and leave. Now, the top 2, I mean, it depends on the amount of people and the it's like, I just said this word, and the thing you're doing, but the top 2, the 1st and 2nd placing competitors get to proceed to whatever's next. So if you're like doing districts, you get to go to state. If you're doing state, you get to go to nationals. And you have to get a certain number of points throughout the year to go to nationals. And you have to be really good to get to nationals. But anyway, so you're doing great. You're having fun. This is your first forensics tournament, and you're doing so well. But are you ready for feedback? Because while the judges were judging you, they had a sheet, like, with the thing, and they could write little notes on it. And they'd circle, like, what your time was, where you placed, etc., etc. But they write feedback on those. So, after all this is done, you get your sheets back with their feedback on them. And feedback is normally really helpful, as long as it's good feedback. Because this did not happen to me. This happened to someone I knew, but she was like, we were in the van on the way back to the school, and she was reading her feedback, and she just, like, broke down laughing, and we were all like, what's going on? And she's like, let me read you this feedback I got. This was for her HI, so movement is completely allowed in every single way. She got the feedback. Don't move your hands so much. It might seem like you're using props. Now, I have not explained this yet, so let me explain. In most, I forgot the word again, most sub-genres, I'm calling them sub-genres, of forensics, there is a degree of acting involved. And now, you are not allowed to use props. You must use your hands and, like, just pantomime everything. Pantomime everything. Props, not allowed at all. Jewelry, no, none of that. So, in HIs, you are allowed to move as much as you want, but no props. Whereas in, like, poetry or prose, it varies for different states. You can, like, where I live, the rule is you cannot move below your torso. So, like, arms, torso movements, head movements, that's all fine. But you can't move your legs once you've started. And, like, it varies, as I said, like, there's some states where you can't move your head. There's some states where you can move your entire body. So at nationals, it's everything you can move. your whole body, just to make it an even playing field. But that being said, in HI, you can move as much as you want. There are no restrictions, just no props. You use your hands to pantomime everything. And this woman gave my friend feedback saying, don't use your hands so much. It might look like you're using props. So yeah. So that's just a sample of some bad feedback, though it was very funny feedback. We got that story out of it. So, now that I've talked about all of that, there's not too much left to describe about forensics. It's kind of like debate's sister. There is an event in forensics called World Schools, which is just debate, pretty much. Like, if you've done debate, but you kind of like acting more, forensics is totally for you, because there are subgenres, I'm still saying subgenres, where you can where you give speeches like OO, original oratory, extemporaneous, you try and sway the judge to your side, basically. You're not technically competing against anyone unless you're in world schools, but yeah, it's just public speaking with more acting. Now, you might be like, but I'm socially anxious and public speaking is scary, and that sounds really scary. I get it. I am super socially anxious, but let me share with you some factoids. Now, approximately 75% of kids, or people just in general, have a fear of public speaking. But the people who have gone through forensics, even if they had a fear of public speaking before, the people who did forensics in high school or middle school or whenever, that rate drops to 20 or 30%, I think. I don't know. I haven't heard it was a little speech that one of my friends gave. Actually, was it a no-o? I don't remember. Anyways, drops to 20 or 30%. It encourages confidence, public speaking skills, and other abilities. Eye contact is really important, and that's really scary and hard, but when you are out in the world trying to find a job, being public speaking and making eye contact are very important, and they're things that a lot of employers look for. So this actually turns out to be really useful, and it's a shame that school doesn't fund it as much as it really should, because instead of funding sports, things where kids are getting injured and hurt, and football, kids are getting concussions and all of that, and overfunding it really. And most of those kids aren't honestly gonna go on to be great professional sports ball players. I'm calling it sports ball players. They're just doing it because their parents wanted them to, or because they were bored, or because they were told they had to take an extracurricular. But with forensics, not only you might be forced into it, but at least it's something that in most careers is going to have an exceedingly high benefit. It's going to introduce you to things you need to know, and how to do those things and be proficient at those things. So, I'm almost out of time. So with that being said, thanks for listening to my rant on how awesome forensics is. I will see you guys next time. Au revoir.